Oh my God.
An attempted carjacking happens in front of our news crew.
News 13 found itself in the middle of a dramatic scene today. Our cameras caught a car thief in the act in front of a church in the Heights.
Our camera also caught a woman trying to stop the crime and getting run over. Candace Hopkins is live near Wyoming in Candelaria, where it happened. Candace?
Jessica, Dean, we were doing an interview about a stolen truck when our photographer heard a commotion and ran up the street to witness a failed carjacking here in this parking lot.
I was just robbed and run over by a car.
Before all this, it started out as a normal news day for one of our KRQE photographers. He was about to interview a man about his stolen truck near Candelaria in Wyoming when a car flew by and yelled at them.
The guy leans out the window, says "West Side, F you," flips us off, and then takes off down the street.
Our photographer and two men peered down the street and watched that car pull into a church parking lot. Our camera was rolling as the suspect got out of the car. Kathy Noble had just arrived at the church to get ready for her aunt's funeral. When she went outside, the suspect was sitting in her car.
I yelled, "What are you doing?" And he looked at me and pushed me.
Joshua Griego had been with our photographer. He jumped on his motorcycle, hoping to help.
By the time I got here, this poor lady was saying, shouting at the top of her lungs that she was being robbed.
The thief made off with Noble's purse. There was a scuffle as she tried to get it back from a woman in the passenger seat. But before she could,
She pushed me back, and so I tried to get out of the way. He started driving away, and that's when they ran over my food.
the car took off with Griego chasing behind on his bike. They gave him the slip a few blocks away, while their victim sat stunned in the church parking lot.
I was just robbed and run over by a car.
I hope they get caught. I hope they get caught, and I hope that they have to answer to this poor woman that they hurt. I mean, what the f*** is wrong with them, you know?
That victim was taken to the hospital to be treated for an ankle injury. After the incident, the first thing she asked was if her aunt's ashes were still in her car. Thankfully, they were. Back to you, Dean.
Okay, Candace, thank you. Now, as we mentioned, before we caught that crime on video, we were interviewing a man about his stolen truck. Ryan Gunter is a balloon pilot. Last night around 8:30, his chase truck was stolen from outside his home. The black Ford F-250 has "Balloon Chase Crew" written on its side and ballooning stickers all over it. Luckily, his balloon wasn't in it, but the truck did have about $2,000 worth of ballooning equipment inside. Even worse, the paperwork that he needs to fly.
My pilot's books, the type certificate, the aircraft manuals in there, which are basically irreplaceable. And I can't fly my hot air balloons anymore or even fly Fiesta until I get those back.
Gunter also had personal mementos in the truck, like patches from his grandparents' piloting days. The license plate on the truck says Adams. If you've seen it, give APD a call.